Hi guys, it's me again. Today we're learning synthetic division of polynomials. Synthetic division of polynomials is another way to divide polynomials. I personally think synthetic division is easier than long division, but after following these steps, you make the judgment call. So again, we have a polynomial, many terms. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 terms divided by a binomial. See the 2 terms, 1, 2. And we're going to do the same step 1 that we did in long division. And we are going to name the degree and check the order. In this case, we're going to write degree. We see that 3 is the highest power, so we're going to write 3, which means the order should go 3, 2, 1, no x, and it does. So the order's in checked, which means this is the one we're going to work with for the dividend. Step 2 is the setup. This setup is a lot different than long division. First part of the setup is to make a backwards L shape. We're going to call this the box. So you make this backwards L shape, the box, right there. Yeah, it looks random but it's okay. In the box goes the 0 of the divisor. So the divisor again is the polynomials being divided by. So in this case, it's x minus 4. It's also the binomial. So the 0 of x minus 4. Well, zeros we know are opposite of factors, and this indeed is a factor. So this means 4 goes in the box. The opposite goes in the box. Then we are going to write the coefficients across. So we're writing the coefficients of the dividend across this way. Coefficients are the numbers next to x, not the exponents next to x, the numbers. So here it's 2, negative 13, 26, and negative 24. We are also going to make this little bar with a nub. So put the bar here, and you're going to cut off right here. So see the last coefficient we wrote? We're going to put a cutoff bar here. And we are going to draw an arrow down from the first coefficient. So this is the setup of synthetic division. This is the most work you're going to do for synthetic division. Box, arrow down, long bar, cutoff bar, coefficients of the dividend. What goes in the box? The 0 of the binomial. So that means the opposite. Step 3. We are going to follow that arrow, and we're going to bring down the first coefficient. I'm now going to abbreviate coefficient, C-O-E-F-F, with a period. So I'm bringing down the 2 and I'm writing it. Step 4, we are going to multiply that number that I just brought down by R. R is what I'm going to now refer to as the number in the box. We went over this in the warm-up. It didn't make any sense to you when we did, but now it does. So we are going to multiply that coefficient by R, and we are going to write it under the next coefficient. So we're multiplying 2 by 4. 2 times 4 is 8. And we're writing it below the next coefficient. So your rotation is going to be writing down and up and down and up. You'll see that in a second. So once we multiplied and wrote it down, step 5 is to add down. We have negative 13. We want to add 8 to that, and we get a negative 5. Step 6 is going to repeat 4 and 5 until we get to the end. So now, again, we're going to do negative 5 times r, which gives us negative 20. We're going to add down, so 26 plus a negative 20 is a positive 6. And then we're going to multiply that by r, so 6 times 4 is 24. Add down, and we get 0 at the end in this case. Step 7 is how we write our final quotient. Believe it or not, we're done all the math. So we need to now rewrite whatever we have here as a final answer. So writing the answers, use the last line of numbers. This is the last line of numbers to be the quotients coefficients. That's a mouthful. Quotients coefficients. We are going to start at the degree that is 1 less than our original. In the box is going to be our remainder. So such as yesterday when we had remainders, we're going to have remainders today, but it's more obvious because it's going to be in this little cutoff box. So if we understand what step 7 says, we're going to use the last line of numbers to be the quotients coefficients. So these are going to be coefficients now. So we need to give them x's. Well, we need to start at the degree 1 less than the initial degree. So this was x cubed. So we're going to do x squared. X, and then that's a constant. Add plus signs where needed. If they already have subtraction signs, leave that there. The remainder is 0, so we don't have to write it. But if it was a number, we would then write 0 over x minus 4, just like we did before. Box your answer, and there's your quotient. Now, we have one more trick with synthetic division. There's no other tricks. That's as easy as it gets other than this last one. So if you go down your worksheet, you are going to see a problem that looks similar to this one. There's something different about this divisor. The difference of this divisor is that there's a number next to x. So there's one more rule to follow if that happens. So if the divisor has a number next to x, we need to do an extra step. So we're going to call this step 0. This step is going to be done before we even name the degree and order. And step 0 is going to be to ID the coefficient of x in the divisor and divide every coefficient you see by it. And then continue on with the following steps. So in this case, the coefficient of x in the divisors the binomial again, is 3. We are going to divide every coefficient we see. There's not a number written next to x squared right here, but that is 1, so that counts. And divide everything by 3 to rewrite this problem. So the new problem you're going to work with is, what's 3 divided by 3? That's 1, so we're left with an x to the 4th. This is an ugly fraction, but that's okay. Our calculator will do the math, don't worry. Here's another fraction. Here's another fraction. Here we no longer have a fraction. And here's another one. If you follow the next steps, which I'm going to do really fast for you, the order and the degree is 4. It is out of order. It is missing the coefficient, or the constant, the number at the end. So now when we go to set up, the number that goes in the box is -1/3. We have a 1, a -5/3, a 1/3, a 7/3, and a 0. Put my little reject box right here for the remainder. Bring the 1 down, multiply it by -1/3. Yes, that's -1/3. Got to add down, so we have a -6/3. Well, -6/3 is actually just -2. Multiply that by -1/3, we get +2/3. Add that down, 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3, which is 1. Multiply that by -1/3 is -1/3. You're left with 7 minus 1/3. That's 6/3, which is a 2. Then 2 times -1/3 is -2/3. -2/3 goes in the box. Degree was 4. So that means we have an x to the 3rd minus 2x squared plus x plus 2. Our remainder is this. There's two options. You can write it like this, where -2 is on top, and it's 3 times x plus 1/3, which, if you look at it, ends up being 3x plus 1. So that's what happens when there is a number next to the divisor. You work with fractions for a while, but it does end up working out. So there is synthetic division. Notice how much faster synthetic division is by long division. Your objective is to finish the rest of the problems for today's classwork, and then you have a long division homework to complete. At the end of the class period, we will regroup, and we are going to talk about what the remainder means as we do a final couple problems together.